All right, Instagram Live. What's going on, guys? Been a minute since I popped on here, so I figured it was about time to get another podcast episode in. So again, as always, hashtag live if you're watching this during the fact, hashtag replay if you're watching it after. And ask me any questions, guys. I'm on open book, so if you have any questions about fitness, nutrition, myths, different topics, just comment on this live, and I will answer them after I'm done. So even if you can't hang out for the whole time, ask your question, come back, watch it on my timeline, and your question will be answered. So I promise you that. Cool. So we're going to start this podcast off. This episode is going to be about getting in good shape while you have injuries. Okay, so we've all been down that path. If we've worked out before and we got hurt, or maybe we're afraid to start working out because we have an injury and we're using that as an excuse. So I'm going to show you how to get past all that stuff and still be able to get in great shape. So without further ado, let's get going. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fit Veteran Podcast, the podcast where we're going to get veterans in awesome shape. So if you take even just a few nuggets from every episode, I can guarantee you you will learn a ton about fitness, nutrition, mindset, all that good stuff as we go forward. So dedicated to veterans, but really good tips for just anybody, right? So in today's episode, I want to talk about what to do or how to get in great shape when you have prior injuries, or maybe you are trying to get in good shape and then you end up just hurting yourself, right? So I could go forever on this topic, guys, but I'm going to start out with just saying that if you have a prior injury, especially my military people, veterans or enlisted, and you're using that as an excuse to not get in great shape, if you listen to this whole episode, you will not have an excuse anymore. And you really shouldn't use that as an excuse, okay? Because there are ways around getting in great shape. So one of our clients, his name was Josh, had both of his legs blown off in combat, was basically wheelchair bound for the most part. He ended up dropping 55 pounds, okay? So I always give that example just to show you guys, like, if that guy can do that and you got all your limbs, right, and you ain't seen combat like that, and some of you probably have but still have all your limbs, like, you got no excuse. You gotta take the bull by the horns and get the job done. So three big things with getting back in shape with an injury, right? And the reason that I'm bringing this up, guys, is because I have an Instagram ad out, and people are opting into it, and I see all the comments and stuff, and it's literally like, oh, I would love to get back in shape, but my back or my knees or blah blah blah. I'm just like, well, you guys are already making excuses already. You ain't even done anything. You haven't even pushed a button to let's get back in shape. It's like you're already coming with the excuses, so that's bullshit. Like, drop the excuses, because as soon as you drop the excuses, you're going to figure it out, right? And that's the biggest thing, is figuring it out. So we have a plethora of freaking resources out there. There's no reason that you guys can't be in great shape if you truly want to. And we all need guidance. We all need help. So don't let me deter you, or, oh, Matt's a jerk because he's saying, all I do is make excuses. But if you're just stuck at your excuses and you're not trying to figure a way out, then you got to turn that around. So first things first is modifying, guys. So every exercise there is out there, whether it's boot camp, CrossFit, running, like whatever you choose to do, there's always ways to modify your exercise, right? And so, I mean, you can literally think of any exercise out there and there's going to be a modification, whether it's not jumping on the exercise, whether it's not using a certain body part on the exercise. Maybe if it's like, a bad knee or something, maybe you're sticking to just upper body for now and walking on the other half of the workout, right? So as always, I'm going to use myself as an example, because I can always just tell you how I work through things, right? So I've gone through a lot of different injuries in my fitness journey, right? So I hurt my back at 22 years old, Came back out of the Marines, is like fat, out of shape, whatever, all that backstory. And so I always have back issues, always, like, like probably once a year I have like a major, injury or whatever with my back. And I can tell you one thing is, like, when my back hurts, all I simply do is just back off of it, right? I back off of my back, right? So, like, chill out. Because the thing is like, I can figure out a bunch of other things to do that are still going to keep me in really good shape without doing the things that are going to hurt my back, okay? So sometimes I can't do deadlifts because it hurts my back, but that doesn't mean I don't ever do deadlifts, because the deadlifts are actually really good for my back. I feel better when I'm doing deadlifts. Sometimes I got to put my ego to the side. Oh, I can't do the 315 today, right? I might just be doing the 185 for a lot more reps, right? So just working my way through that. Today I did squats, right? My back was kind of feeling it, but my knee felt it a little bit too, right? So I was like, I still had another set. I had more reps in my set, and I felt that first rep, and I was like, that doesn't feel really good. So let me just go ahead and stop here, right? Because I always think, like, I want to live to fight another day, right? And it took me a while to learn this, because the young version of Matt, the egotistical Matt, and I'm still probably egotistical, but as I get older, I get a little bit wiser, and I learned that don't push through the pain, right? There's good ways to push through pain, but then there's bad ways to push through pain, and that's when you make something that was probably like a light injury that you might have got over in like 2 days. It's gonna last like a week, a month, and I've done that several times, and like, I'm always like, why did I do that, right? Because it takes me out of the game almost completely, as opposed to just like, okay, for a week I just can't do certain things. So it's knowing your body, it's putting your ego aside, and it's figuring out these other things that you can do to make sure that you can still keep moving. Because that's the biggest thing, guys, is like, just always keep moving, always be able to do something, right? And so that was my back, right? Another injury I've had, I had golfer's elbow for probably the last year, right? And this is what sucks about injuries. Sometimes you're like, okay, hopefully this won't last very long, and I'll just kind of back off a little bit. Or you just keep pushing it, and you're like, hopefully it'll just go away, and it never goes away, and then you do have to completely back off of it. So I've had golfer's elbows from pull-ups, I think is where it stemmed from. So I do some CrossFit stuff, and it's just like a lot of just kipping pull-ups, and eventually that wore out on my my forearms and my elbows. But I also learned a lot of it came from like the Olympic lifting I was doing and things like that. So like for the last year almost, I'm not kidding, like the last year, I've had to basically stop doing any kind of Olympic lifting, any kind of what's the other one? No, I still do powerlifting stuff. So mostly just Olympic lifting, because with Olympic lifting, it requires you to like turn the bar a certain way, and that bends your wrist in a certain way. You're also holding the bar in kind of an awkward position where it's bending your wrist. And so for golfer's elbow, for me, from what I learned, is that basically the way that my wrists are bent like that, it's causing the pain to go all the way through to my elbows. And they call it a golfer's elbow because they see it in golf. Like, I don't know how to play golf. I don't ever play golf. But, like, that's what the injury is called. So, and these are all things that I learned just basically off YouTube, right? So when I talk about having the resources, those resources are there. And if you can figure out how to use those resources and make yourself better, great. But that brings me basically to the second part of my list. So the first part is, one, modify, okay? If you don't know how to modify, you can literally just YouTube modifications. I even have modifications on my YouTube channel. I haven't, there's still a ton I need to do, but I have, some here and there that you guys can look at. There's going to be a lot more, but like literally like just modify. Let's say I want to do, I don't know, a squat. Okay. Modification for a squat, okay? It'll basically be like, oh, instead of going super deep in the squat, maybe you touch your butt on a chair, right, and come up. Maybe you just don't use any weight. It's just all air squats for a while, right? Maybe it's teaching you the mechanics of how to do a proper squat so you don't actually hurt yourself, or you won't feel it in the same place, right? And this is kind of off topic, but one thing I see a lot of people doing when they want to get back in shape is, I'm going to go run, right? And they go start this, like, no warm up, no nothing. They just go run like 3 miles, right? and then they're like, oh man, my knee hurts, like my, everything hurts. And it's like, running is almost like one of the hardest things to do just starting out, especially if you're overweight. Okay, so like if you start running, do like a half a mile, then like in a couple of days do like a mile, like graduate your way up to it. Because if you just start out, I used to be able to do 3 miles when I was in the military, it's no problem, and you might be able to still pull it off, but your body's gonna be hurting a lot worse because you were used to that back then. You're not used to it anymore. So don't think that just running is you're just gonna run your way back into shape. You can, but like also take it easy too, because it's really easy to hurt yourself when you run. Like, believe it or not, it's just that constant pounding on the pavement. You step in a hole wrong, you're not running, you haven't bought new shoes, like then it messes up your knees, your ankles. Like, so I'm not saying don't run, but like take it easy when you first start running, because you will mess yourself up. I've seen so many injuries over my past 13 years of doing this when people are just like, yeah, I was trying to get back in shape and I just started running, and it's like after the second run I like hurt myself and now I can't do anything for a month or something like that. So, and again, you can still do stuff. It's like, but now you gotta just basically skip the lower body for now, right? Just work on that upper body. So again, it's all about keeping your body moving and making sure that you're actually still doing something right and keeping that habit in line, right? So I had a coach that he pulled a freaking bicep muscle, and this guy's a gym addict, right? He's in the gym all the time. Most people, they pull bicep muscle, like they're done, especially a guy, right? Because we like are so upper body dominant when we go to the gym. This guy kept going in. He rehabbed the bicep, and he kept that going out. And then for a while, like his bicep, I think it was his left one his right one got way small compared to his left one. And so like now that was his new goal, trying to get that bicep back up to par with the other one so they're back even out, right? So don't always look at it as like, oh, woe is me, like why do I always get injuries? But maybe look at it as a way for you to learn, a way for you to strengthen a certain part of your body, that type of thing, okay? So again, first thing, guys, modify. Figure out what you need to modify, figure out what you need to back off on, and just do that. Going back to my injury with the golfer's elbow, I haven't been able to do any Olympic lifting. I haven't been able to do pull-ups. Like, it sucks because I really want to. But I just know it's not worth it, because every time I try to get back up on that bar, like my stuff's hurting for another, 2 or 3 days. I'm icing, I'm stretching, that type of thing. So I'm just backing completely off until probably I feel confident enough to like, okay, let me try this. And I'm kind of getting there. Like I can do front squats again, that type of thing, without too much pain. I'm not going to do pull-ups for a while. Like I'll probably even just wait maybe even another 3 or 4 months till I start doing pull-ups again, just to make sure I'm like all the way back to where I need to, okay? So that's the first thing, modify. If you don't know what to modify or how to modify, YouTube it, ask a friend, ask a coach, right? Figure it out. Second thing, see a physical therapist, right? I cannot stress this enough. I don't think people understand like how much they have to put into their bodies, like financially and time-wise, right? We got to put a lot into our bodies because we expect our bodies to do a lot for us. So that means you have to take the time and the resources, meaning money, to be able to invest back into your body so that your body can do the things that you want to do. Like LeBron James, spends a crazy amount, like $3-4 million every single year on his body. Obviously, he has more reason to than the average person. But if you can take that from what he's doing and say, yeah, I mean, I need to treat my body like an athlete as well too, because if you are training 3 or 4 times a week, you are pushing your body like an athlete. So you need to treat it like you were an athlete, right? And even if you're not, start spending more resources on your body, start spending more time on your body, because you will start respecting your body more and you will start valuing it more, okay? You're going to start respecting it for what it can do more, and it's going to do a lot more for you when you put the time and effort and money into it, right? But if you're always neglecting it and putting crap into it and not spending money on it, meaning like you get hurt and you're just like, oh, I'll just wait it out and not do shit, like that's when your body's like, well, fuck you too, basically, right? So you got to treat your body with respect, and it's going to do what you want it to do, okay? I promise you that. So go see a physical therapist. The thing about the physical therapist, they're not just going to heal your pain. They're going to show you how to basically get away from that pain and how to alleviate that pain. But then on top of that, what they're going to do is actually show you how to make things stronger too, right? They're going to show you how to strengthen that part of your body so it doesn't become a reoccurring injury. Because the most frustrating thing is, like, you think you get past an injury and then you're doing something randomly and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, there it is again. And that's the thing, is like, once you're hurt once, guys, you're way more susceptible to hurting that exact same spot every time, right? Unless you're actively strength training it. So right now for my elbows, I got this bat and I got like an ankle weight at the end of the bat, and I'm just going kind of like turning my wrists left and right and just doing a bunch of different exercises that my physical therapist taught me to do, right? And it sucks because it's hard to do, because it's just like anything. It's like, takes consistency, and you gotta do it. And sometimes I just want to pick the bar up and throw the bar around and have fun. And it's like, I don't want to sit there for 20 minutes and work through these motions that are, quite frankly, boring. But it's so important if I really want to get back to my peak level of being able to do all the things that my body allows me to do. So you really have to think about it like that. The physical therapist is also acting as kind of a trainer or a coach, right? Where they're keeping you consistent. So like, my thing was like, you could sit there and go to a physical therapist, and they're gonna, give you the exercises to do on your own. But if you're not doing it, it's not gonna work, right? So by going to a physical therapist, 1, 2, 3 times per week, it keeps you consistent in doing it, even if that's what it takes for you to do it, is to actually just show up and have them take you through it. Obviously, you should really try to do it at home by yourself as well. But that's the key of a physical therapist, okay? They're going to teach you how to alleviate the pain from the injury, why the injury even happened, and how to avoid it next time. And then they're going to help you strengthen that area, so hopefully it prevents it from happening again, okay? And then lastly, they're keeping you consistent to doing the things on the outside that you need to be doing. Once the pain subsides, it's all about getting the pain relief, okay? Understanding what happened, okay? Then getting the pain relief, okay? So getting it to stop hurting, and then strengthening that area. So those are the 3 things that you should focus on when you're going to a physical therapist. Physical therapists are all over the place, so just Google, sports physical therapy or whatever, and you'll find somebody good, and just make sure they treat you right and all that good stuff. But definitely do that, guys. Don't skip out on that part, because if you just try to wait it out, the pain will go away, but you didn't actually strengthen that spot again, so then that injury is going to come back, okay? And we see a lot of that with our military veterans. So cool. And then third thing, guys, is lose the weight. Okay, so this doesn't apply to everybody, but I can tell you, from being overweight and being fat after I got out of the military, like, as soon as I dropped probably 20 or 30 pounds, I felt way better. I had, instant alleviation on my back, my knees, my hips. The weight is just really, really bad for you guys, especially as you get older. So, just imagine, like, we've all put those vests on, the 20-pound vest, whether it's weighted, whether it's the combat vests that have the plates in them, just imagine carrying those around in your everyday life, and you don't notice it because it's for the most part, evenly distributed amongst your body, the extra fat that you got on you. And the weight vest is somewhat like that, but not quite. But so when you're carrying that extra 20, 30 pounds, it doesn't seem like a big deal. But once you lose it, I promise you're going to notice how much of it you are actually carrying around, right? And the more wear and tear you have on your body as you get older, the harder that's going to become to get rid of, right? Even as I get older, like, I'm almost 40 now, and I could keep bulking up. I just went through a bulk right now, but I think I'm going to be done bulking for a while, because I really just want to lean out, because as I get older, guys, I don't want all this extra weight, even if it is good weight, like in the form of muscle. I don't want a bunch of extra weight on my frame as I get older, okay? Because I can already feel it in my back. Everything I do is going to be harder. When you have more weight on you, your lungs are working harder, your liver's working harder, your everything's working harder, guys. Your heart, right? So it's like, you want to actually be a lighter weight as you get older, so that way you can have more longevity. Okay, bigger people die earlier. It's a common fact. Okay, it's why like you could see like a big guy that works out every day and looks like he's in pretty decent shape. He might have a heart attack, or he might just like not be able to get around as good as he ages. And then you see the skinny, frail person that really didn't do shit their whole life, but just had the great genetics of like not having to deal with being overweight, and they actually end up living longer, right? I don't know, somebody can tell me if I'm wrong, but like when I look at older people and I look at longevity, some of the oldest people are the smallest people. Like my wife's parents, my grandma, real small, petite, like they're just, and granted, a lot, obviously they lose the weight as they get older and things like that, but it's always the people that were naturally kind of just smaller that like last the longest, right? Because it's just not as much wear and tear on the body as they get older over the years and all that good stuff. So cool. So that's kind of my spiel on the injuries, guys. So please do not use them as an excuse. You have no reason to not be able to get in great shape, especially if my buddy Josh, I'm going to always bring up, has no legs and he's in a wheelchair and he drops 55 pounds. Like, you have no damn excuse. So make sure that you are using these tips. Do some research, ask a coach, get back in shape, guys. Do not use those excuses. I'm a disabled vet. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. You're only disabled in your mind first, right? If you tell yourself you're disabled, then you're disabled, brother. But you ain't disabled in the way you think you are. You're disabled in your mind first, because your mind's going to be the only thing that stops you. You can do anything you want to do as long as your mind's in the right place. If you count yourself out right away before you even start, then you're done. Okay, and that's the biggest thing, is the mindset. So anyways, guys, have a good one. We will see you on the next one. All right, appreciate y'all being on here. About 20-minute episode right there. Not bad, not bad. Any comments, any questions, drop them now if you got them. Marcus Morel says, how many push-ups should I do per day and for how many minutes? I'm trying to get my arms big. Well, that's kind of a loaded question. So push-ups can help get your arm big, but it's not going to be the only things that get your arm big. So you definitely want to definitely hit, bicep curls, pull-ups, back rows, a lot of different things. Hit the triceps as well too. So the push-ups are good functional body weight exercise that'll help with that a little, but you gotta have to be doing other things. And you also got to trick the body too, Marcus. So you can't just think you're going to do push-ups and push-ups and push-ups and push-ups until you get big arms. Like, eventually your body's going to get used to that, and you got to trick it for the muscles to grow, right? You got to create new muscle fibers. So definitely, if you can get it like a gym membership and get in there and do some different type of arm exercises, you'll grow your biceps faster. If you can't get in a gym, then try to like get a pair of dumbbells at home, get a pull-up bar. Just things like that will help with the muscle definition, the muscle size. So you also have to be eating in a surplus too. So just getting bigger arms, it's not going to happen just getting bigger arms. You got to get bigger everything. So it's really a science behind it. So, but hopefully that helps a little bit. So I'm glad you're doing push-ups right now, but definitely change it up a little bit. Make sure you're doing other things, Marcus. Appreciate that question, brother. All right, who else we got? A lot of people tuning in on Instagram. I appreciate you guys. All right, one other question here. So thank you for doing this. Not only am I physically feeling and looking better, but my mind is a lot clearer. Now joining Body Ops has changed my life. Thank you, Matt. Awesome, man. Hey, Ryan, I appreciate you. I appreciate you saying that, brother. That means a lot to me. I might even screenshot that. That's a great testimonial, man. And see if I can do it. Okay, cool. That's why I love it. That's why I love doing it, man. I love doing it for you guys. Even if you're not in my program, when people come tell me like, hey, you really helped me with XYZ, like that fills my cup, guys. I really appreciate that. And that's what I do it for. So that's why I ask questions, right? Because I want to help you. Like, I'm here to help you for free. I don't got to charge you anything. If you do want to come into the Body Ops program, like, definitely do it. Obviously, it's going to change your life, like Ryan said. But other than that, just ask me questions, guys, because that's what I'm here for. So, cool. If there's any last questions, go ahead and drop them right now, guys. I'm about to pop off of Instagram, and then I'm going to go to my Facebook post here real quick and see what questions we had there, if any. And, yeah, we'll be rocking and rolling. All right, guys, we'll see you later.